Have you ever walked out of a meeting and thought, I felt productive? People contributed, ideas were flowing, someone took notes, there were head notes, maybe there was even coffee and a PowerPoint. And then 3 days later, nothing happened. No movement, no execution, no ownership, no visible change. Suddenly, you realize that your meeting had the same effect as watching movie trailers for 2 hours. A lot of excitement, but no actual feeling. And here is the strange part. Most leaders assume the problem is that meetings are too long or too frequent, or that people are distracted. But after working with organizations and studying execution breakdown patterns, I've noticed something different. Meetings don't fail because people are not talking. No. Meetings fail because organizations confuse discussion with decision architecture. Yes, meetings fail because organizations confuse discussion with decision architecture. And until you see the difference, your meetings will continue feeling productive while producing very little. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you why most meetings go nowhere, and the hidden organizational problem that keeps team repeating the same cycle over and over. Because the issue is far deeper than bad agendas. Yes, the issue is far deeper than bad agendas. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something fascinating. Organizations today are having more meetings than ever. Can you believe that? Organizations today are having more meetings than ever. But somehow, many teams still struggle with repeated conversations, missed deadlines, confusion, slow execution, and decisions that mysteriously come back from the dead. Yeah. It's almost like organizational zombies. You thought you cured the issue 3 weeks ago, and suddenly someone says, maybe we should revisit this. Maybe we should revisit this again. Now, imagine the Avengers assembling for an emergency meeting. Iron Man speaks. Captain America shares his perspective. Thor contributes. Bruce Banner raises concerns. Everyone talks. And then they leave. No one decides who does what. No one clarifies priorities. No one determines ownership. No next steps. No accountability. Just discussion. Just Just discussion. Thanos wins in 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes, because talking isn't coordination. And that's exactly what many organizations accidentally create. They create rooms full of intelligent people participating in organized confusion. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Most people think meetings exist to exchange information. That's what most people think, that meetings exist to exchange information. But information was never the main problem. Humans are drowning in information. There are Slack messages, emails, dashboards, reports, updates. The issue isn't missing information. The issue is missing alignment. The issue isn't missing information, it is missing alignment. And those are not the same thing. The two are very different. This is where I want to introduce something from my organizational cognitive alignment model. Because beneath almost every meeting that goes nowhere is something that I call cognitive misalignment. I call it cognitive misalignment. Now that sounds technical, so let me simplify it. Imagine 5 people entering a meeting with completely 5 different mental maps. One person thinks we are here to brainstorm. Another thinks we are making a final decision. Someone else thinks we are discussing future possibilities. Another thinks we are solving today's emergency. Another person believes we are just updating leadership. We're just here to update the leadership. Same meeting, different realities. It's like showing up to play football. And realizing half the team thought they were playing basketball. The problem isn't effort. It is not effort. The problem is invisible assumptions. People are participating in entirely different meetings without realizing it. In the same room, but they are participating in different meetings without realizing it. And because assumptions remain hidden, confusion feels mysterious. But confusion is rarely mysterious. Confusion has architecture. It is rarely mysterious. It has architecture. Now, here is where the paradox is. Some smart organizations often suffer this problem more. They suffer more. And why do they suffer more? Because intelligence creates an illusion. Leaders assume we are all experienced, we are all competent, We all understand. Experience does not create automatic understanding. In fact, highly qualified and experienced people often carry stronger assumptions. Everyone sees through different lenses. Finance sees risk. Operation sees systems. Sales sees opportunity. HR sees people. Leadership sees strategy. None are wrong. None of those things are wrong. But without alignment, perspectives collide. And meetings quietly become negotiation arenas, not decision systems. This explains why teams repeatedly say, I thought we agreed. I thought we agreed. No. You thought everyone interpreted agreement the same way. That's what you thought. You thought everyone interpreted agreement the same way. This is very different. These are two different things. Two different things. There's a scene in movies that always fascinates me. You know those war room scenes? Big screens, maps, people talking urgently. Someone points dramatically at a board. Everybody nods. Then action starts immediately. Action starts immediately. Movies make meetings look like launch buttons. Reality often looks different. Reality is meeting today, follow up tomorrow, clarification next week, rediscussion after objections, emergency meeting after confusion, then another meeting to discuss why the previous meetings failed. That's the reality. At some point, meetings start reproducing like sequels nobody asked for. Yeah. Fast and Furious 17, the meeting drift. Because organizations accidentally build meetings that generate more meetings. Can you imagine? Organizations accidentally build meetings that generate more meetings instead of generating execution. All they need is to generate execution. And here is the hidden reason. Meetings without cognitive alignment create ambiguity. Ambiguity creates hesitation. Hesitation creates follow-up conversations. Follow-up conversations create meeting multiplication. Suddenly, calendars become crowded while outcomes stay empty. Yeah. The calendars become crowded, but outcomes remain empty. So how do we fix this? How do we fix it? Most advice says shorten meetings, create calendars, start on time, end on time. Those are useful. They're very useful. but they don't solve the core issue. They don't, because efficiency applied to confusion simply creates faster confusion. Instead, before discussing content, align cognition. Before asking, what are we discussing? Ask, what kind of meeting is this? Simple question, massive difference. Because not all meetings should function the same way. Not all meetings should function the same way. I use 4 categories of meetings. We have decision meetings, problem-solving meetings, alignment meetings, information meetings. 4. And each has different rules. Each of these meetings have different rules. If people don't know which room they are entering mentally, execution suffers before the meeting even starts. Yeah. This changes everything. Changes everything because now expectations become visible. And visible expectations create alignment. Yeah. The expectations become visible, and visible expectations create alignment. I want to give you a practical framework. 3 questions. Simple questions, but powerful ones. At the beginning of every important meeting, ask question 1. What outcome are we living today? Not discussion, outcome. Decision, plan, owner, recommendation. Clarity matters. Question 2. Who owns the final decision? Who owns the final decision? This one makes people uncomfortable. It does. But ambiguity around ownership destroys execution. Yeah, it destroys execution. If everyone owns execution, usually no one owns it. Question 3. How will we know this meeting succeeded? How will we know this meeting succeeded? Because if success is not defined, meetings become social experiences instead of organizational systems. Yeah. These questions sound almost too simple. They sound almost too simple. But simple doesn't mean insignificant. Simple doesn't mean insignificant. Tiny hinges move giant doors. Yeah. Simple hinges. They move giant doors. There is something leaders rarely hear. Meetings are not communication tools. Meetings are diagnostic tools. They reveal hidden organizational problems. Yeah. They reveal repeated meetings, likely unclear ownership. They reveal constant confusion, likely cognitive misalignment. They reveal decisions reopening, likely missing decision architecture. They reveal people disengaged, likely no connection between priorities and outcomes. Yeah. Meetings don't create dysfunction. Meetings don't create dysfunction. They expose it. They expose it. They are organizational mirrors. And mirrors don't create problems. Mirrors don't create problems. Instead, they reveal them. They reveal the problems. So if your meetings keep going nowhere, the problem may not be your people. The problem may not be your people. It may not even be your process. The deeper issue could be that everyone enters the room carrying different assumptions. The deeper issue could be that everyone enters the room carrying different assumptions, carrying different priorities, carrying different cognitive maps. And unless organizations intentionally align how people think before asking them to act, execution breakdown becomes almost inevitable. Yeah. Execution breakdown becomes almost inevitable. That is why inside my organizational community alignment model, I focus less on helping organizations communicate more. Yeah. I focus less on helping them communicate more. Instead, I focus on helping organizations think together more effectively. Yeah, I help organizations think together more effectively because organizations don't move at the speed of meetings. They don't move at the speed of meetings. They move at the speed of alignment. And I want to leave you with a question. What is one meeting your organization keeps having repeatedly? One meeting that your organization keeps having repeatedly. Because repeated meetings often point to repeated misalignment. Drop it in the comments. And if this helped you see meetings differently, subscribe, because in the next video, we'll be diving into another hidden execution problem. Why teams keep reopening the same decisions long after they thought they were settled. Yeah, they keep reopening the decisions long after they thought they were settled. And once you see that pattern, you'll never look at organizational dysfunction the same way again. See you in the next video.